Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework about human behavior. We're looking at temporary pleasure versus eternal treasure, and honestly, the fascinating math behind our daily choices. Let's get right into it. We're going to dive straight into this wild contradiction about how we spend our absolute most precious resource time, right? We all have the exact same 24 hours in a day. Yet, how we allocate that time, well, it completely defies basic logic when you really stop and think about it. Why is it that we will willingly spend hours, drain our bank accounts, and burn through all our energy for some earthly goal that has a highly improbable chance of actually succeeding? We risk so much for things that might not even work out. But then when it comes to something with absolute inherent value, like eternal life, we suddenly find it impossibly hard to spare just a tiny fraction of our time. We easily lose ourselves in endless screen time, but somehow we look at the short, focused time required for prayer as this heavy, unmanageable burden. It's kind of a fascinating flaw in our everyday logic, isn't it? To help us actually visualize this logical flaw, our source text, drawing from a classic piece of literature known as the fourth word, uses this brilliant metaphor. It basically reframes our daily 24 hours into tangible currency. I absolutely love this approach. It takes a super abstract concept like time and turns it into something you can hold in your hand, count, and most importantly, spend. When we start thinking of our time as literal currency, our spending habits suddenly become glaringly transparent. So, to really see this imbalance, I want you to imagine a servant who is given exactly 24 gold coins. This represents our 24 hours. Now, picture a massive chunk of that wealth being completely wiped out. The servant squanders 23 of those gold coins on fleeting temporary amusements. Boom, completely gone. And he is left with just a single solitary coin. That tiny leftover fraction, that is his absolute last resource. Which brings us to a really crucial turning point in the metaphor. The servant's friend steps in and delivers a profound warning. He says, "Give this for a ticket, otherwise you'll have to walk the long road hungry and on foot." It's a major reality check. Look, if that servant were to be stubborn and blow that absolute last coin on yet another passing temporary thrill, any rational observer would instantly see what a colossal, foolish loss he just brought on himself. I mean, he's facing this massive, arduous journey ahead, and he desperately needs that ticket. Because, hey, let's be honest with ourselves. We are that servant. Our modern 23 coins are spent exactly on things like this. You know the feeling. It's that just one more video mindset. It's playing one more game, letting a casual chat drag on for hours, or the ultimate time thief, endless scrolling. We enthusiastically trade our golden hours for these low-yield digital distractions, hour after hour. Yet when it comes to the short time required for prayer, that one single coin needed for the ticket, we suddenly claim we're just way too busy. Now, the text doesn't just leave us with a metaphor, it actually shifts into what it calls a logical math. It challenges us to strip away all those emotional attachments to our distractions and just run the cold, hard numbers on risk and reward. It's basically asking us to be ruthless investors evaluating our own life's capital. And doing this brilliantly exposes the sheer irony of our choices. Think about our earthly investments first. We risk massive amounts of our energy, our wealth, and our time for earthly success, right? But statistically speaking, that success often has a very low probability of panning out exactly the way we want. We take huge, massive risks for temporary things, but then contrast this with eternal treasure. The probability of the reward is incredibly high, yet the required risk, the actual time we need to invest, is remarkably low. So why do we eagerly take the bad bet but hesitate on the sure thing? Well, the crucial point comes down to a very specific fraction, 1/24th. The daily prayer outlined in the text isn't asking for half your life. It's not asking you to abandon the real world entirely, not at all. Mathematically, it requires just 1/24th of your daily capital. That is literally one single hour out of 24, spread out over the entire day to secure that ticket. The source asks a really direct question. How can it possibly be considered wise or intelligent in any way to withhold 1/24th of your resources from an eternal treasure while throwing the other 23 into a temporary void? But here is where the text adds a truly beautiful layer of depth. This investment, spending that one coin on prayer, isn't just some deferred payout that you only get to see in the afterlife. Sure, it's the key to an eternal treasure, but it also offers massive, immediate returns for your mental and emotional state today. The return on investment begins the absolute second you decide to spend that coin wisely. Think of this small time commitment as an essential anchor.
First off, it relieves the soul, the heart, and the mind. We live in an age of total sensory overload, and taking this time literally gathers you up from the chaos and fragmentation of daily distraction. It forces you to hit pause. It directs your focus back to the creator and completely recenters your life's purpose. It's just this powerful, practical mechanism for deep, present-day peace, pulling you out of the noise and reminding you of what actually matters. So, having laid out this brilliant logical framework, the source text turns the mirror right back on us. It asks us to look inward and conduct an honest audit of our daily habits. What temporary pleasures do I easily spend time on? And what excuse do I constantly make for prayer? Look, we all have stories we tell ourselves about being too busy or too tired, but if we're really being honest, we aren't too tired to scroll for another 45 minutes in bed, right? The text challenges us to confront those flimsy excuses we use to justify holding onto that one last coin. To break that habit, the text inspires a highly practical, low-barrier challenge. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. Just try these 3 simple steps. Step 1. Be brutally honest with your excuses. Catch yourself the second you say you don't have time. Step 2. Just put your phone down 5 minutes earlier than usual before a prayer time. And step 3. Treat those 5 minutes like they are your absolute last gold coin. Treat them like your golden ticket. It's a small, empowering way to actively reclaim your attention from the digital void. As we wrap up this analysis, let's just summarize the ultimate reality of our time capital. Temporary pleasures, by their very definition, end quickly. That dopamine hit, it fades the literal second the video is over or the game is closed, and you are left with nothing but less time. Lasting gain, true, eternal, and present-day peace starts by securing the right ticket at the right time. It's all about recognizing the true value of that 1 out of 24 coins. And that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. It's a provocative question that the text naturally leaves us with, and I really want you to carry it with you today. Look at how you spend your next hour or your next evening. Look at those screen time reports on your phone and ask yourself, where are you spending your gold? Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. Take care of your time, spend your coins wisely, and I'll see you in the next explainer.